Hello there and welcome to the first devlog of me, the developer of The Lost. Yeah, I'm doing this because I've been playing a lot of games and not all of the games were developed as far as I would like them to be so that I could enjoy them very much. And at least this game is a game that I made myself, so yeah, that's a game you gotta enjoy. Otherwise, why do you make it? Because you gotta love what you do. But I also wanted to share some of my choices that I made for the game, the way I set up my game and why, uh, and share that with you and see if you got any feedback that you could use on my own game, that I give on my own game, that you can use, or thought processes I should say, that I use for my own game that could maybe be of benefit to your game. So that's why I'm gonna do this. This is not to promote my own game really, but in a sort of way it already is, because it's my own game. But it's mainly because I want to play a game and see if this is to the liking of people watching, the developers of other games. Yeah, so let's jump right into my game. So this is The Lost. I got around, I think, 150 plugins or so to get this game working the way it is. Some are utility plugins, like I think about 40 or 50 of the plugins are utility. I got 120 plugins, by the way, and 40 or 50 are utility plugins. Plugins to make things more smooth, plugins to with the UI changes and stuff. Yeah, to the result that it looks the way it looks right now. And it doesn't keep lagging. I got some plugins that reduce lag through deleting the cache, because the game stores information, and MV is not a great engine to have a long play. Like, the game will start to lag. That's also when you this lag also occurs when you update your game and you play with an old save file. The game can't recognize your old data that well and keeps processing it, and that makes a game lag. I couldn't fix that problem, but I fixed the problem in the game itself, that the game itself starts to lag the longer you play, because the data just keeps adding up. By putting in some 2 or 3 plugins that remove cache on the memory that the game uses on certain points. It also preloads some stuff. It's minor, but it's necessary so the game doesn't flicker. For example, when you use a skill, it does that millisecond delay before the skill shows. Some stuff like that. I try to fix it by using those plugins. Of course, you got plugins like these one, the options menu plugin, and these plugins are almost all plugins, different plugins. That's why you have a lot of utility plugins. The only one I'm currently having a problem with is the full screen plugin. I'm not gonna toggle it right now, but it keeps staying on if I toggle it the first time. But the screen goes in window mode, but it stays on, and then if I switch it back, it goes to off, and the screen changes back to full screen. So I don't know why it does that. I can't figure it out myself. I've tried to find some solutions, so if you know the solution, you can help me too. But yeah, I have a problem with that. Performance here, the lighting effects, of course, the animated tiles and the FPS are all different utility plugins. Volume has a little bit more than the master volume. I also set the volume to this as standard, so when people boot up the game, this is what they see. They don't get all the 100%, and how you do that is pretty simple. With your test play, You put in the volumes that you would like to have, like I have here 60, 40, 60, 80, 60, and then you go into the folder where the save file is, and you use, I'm not sure, the global or the config file in the save folder, and you upload that as well, because that's the information that stores this part of the game. So if you want to personalize the volumes, and you kind of do, because MV is always too loud compared to other stuff, you can do it that way. So save it. Like if you set it up this way, you go out of the test play, you go into your save folder and upload the save folder with the config or the how do you call it? The config or the global save file. And of course the reset options button, that's also nice to have, just if someone goes wild on these things and doesn't know anymore what it was to experience the game I want to play to be experience it, they can always just press this button and it all resets to standard. Because some people will speed up the message speed but will miss things like I will tell more about how I set up the message speed, but they will miss things, and the ATB speed is the same. Like, this gives the full experience of how I want to play it to experience it, but they can of course change it to their own liking. So more utility is the 4.1 plugin. It links to my Steam page. It's not really active or anything, but it's just to be there to show some professional setup, and that's fine for now, because I think it will pick up a little when I put this on Steam once it's finished. You got the credits, of course. There you go. There's the credits. Must say the music is a little too soft right now. Let me see. Oh well. It will pick up later in the game, so should be fine. But yeah, I so many times see plugins used that that have a on-screen selectable or on-screen self-scrollable. It doesn't go automatic; it's all manual scrollable credit scenes. Now, you want to make this so as professional looking as you can be, because this is your impression of the game. So I would really recommend that the player or the developer, the player gets the best experience, the most professional experience. So you put in a splash screen before you show the main menu. You put a little disclaimer there. It doesn't matter if it's readable. It's more like that's how that's how the brain kind of works for people to make it feel like it's more professional. Same for the credits. If it's scrolling like this, it's much more visually captivating than a thing you can use yourself. That's more functional, like you can just scroll it yourself. But this is more professional. So I will always say go for the more professional part than the functional part, because functional is mostly to your own liking and professional is more standard way of doing things. That said, of course, the quit game, because I popped this game up in full screen, so you can quit the game and it goes out, because not everyone knows that MV has an F4 button that minimizes your full screen. So this is always nice to have if you go full screen and you don't have it in window mode. So let's start the game and talk about some gameplay IDs and setup. So yeah, this is the first thing I've brought in like 2 months ago or so, or a month ago. That is that you can select if you want to start with the prologue or start the game. I kind of did this. Let me see. I kind of did this, or to yeah, to help the player. Wait a second. Yeah, I kind of did this to help the player understand that you're not playing as Khan the whole game. It's more like, oh, okay, so you're gonna play Khan and Ragno, so two guys from the Doctor tribe, of course, and one is a chieftain, and another one is just a tribe member. And oh, it's a prologue, so that's probably more tutorialized, and okay. And the game itself is about Ragno. For replayability, of course, it also counts as an easy way to skip the whole prologue stuff and just go into the game, because the prologue stuff doesn't have anything in it that affects the main game. Well, one thing, but that's not gonna matter for the demo of this right now. But yeah, more for the end game. But that's might be a little bit of a spoiler there. But yeah. So yeah, we're gonna start the prologue here. Play Scam. And if this is to my liking and to the viewers' liking, I'll probably do more of these videos. But for now, let's do Khan, a part of Khan's story. So yeah, I have a picture artist, Ben Flores, one of the artists of my game. He made this. It's really awesome. The water painting style. I think it fits the scene of my game. A little bit exotic with the colors and stuff, but also a little bit robust to really express the type of game I really wanted to create. But yeah, that's just not possible because you have a certain amount of money, a budget for your game. At least you should have a certain amount of budget for your game. You can make the budget bigger, but I wouldn't advise that to do that too many times. But you have a budget, try to stick to that budget. Because if you keep spending and spending and spending, you can lose yourself, at least with these really big games, in spending too much and never seeing a dime back of it. And people will still dislike some parts of your game. So yeah, this is an paid artist for these scenes. What I tried to do here is set up a mood. I think it's working pretty well because most of the people playing this right now um, really like how this plays out this scene. So I'm pretty happy. Of course, if you watched this video from 2 years back, the first video like Drifty played, uh, I'll be honest, uh, it looked very different, very different. I didn't have so much going on the map. I uh, didn't have the text that I have now. I did have text, and the basic of this is the same, but it's so more detailed right now, and so much more flavor in it that it. Yeah, I don't hear anyone anymore complaining about this whole scene, so that's pretty cool to experience as a developer that something is succeeding. Of course, you get the standard things. Oh, it's a RPG Maker tiles, but still, even when they say that, they still now say like you can see it's used in a different way that it's really nice, rather than it's RPG Maker. So you want to go for that as a developer that you sets you apart from the whole other crowd of yeah games they're made with RPG Maker. So yeah, I wanted to tie the player to the main guy here, Khan. So some people call him differently, but I really intended him to be called Khan. But I don't matter if other people call him otherwise. But that's how I intended his name to be. Um, to tie him up like he's really desperate to protect his daughter, and you going through the story, you get to know that he is yeah that he lost his wife, that something was up with Ragno, that Ragno had to do something with it, and that he is really overprotective of his daughter. And these guys, this enemy just showed up from nowhere and starts to threaten his way of life. And yeah, to make more incentive, I have Mila coming up here and telling that she doesn't know where Lentar is, and after a while you get to know that. Yeah, that's because I'm pressing forward now that this scene happens this way. Yeah, that you get attached to the character. Like, yeah, he's a bit of a prick, but he has a good reason to be as aggressive as he is right now, and to be a little bit of a prick. At least I try to, and people mostly dislike Khan, but they also like his characterization. So I'm pretty glad with the setup there. So yeah, as you can see, as most people that played it have experienced, this is pixel movement. You can walk per pixel, and I use a couple of plugins to make this work. Of course, a pixel plugin movement, and then I use overlayers of, or not overlayers. I don't use overlayers. I use how do you call it? The coloring of those tiles. In your when you're making a map, you got one of those tabs of the maps is the last tab with the colors, region colliders. That's the plugin I use, and if you put a region on one of these, if you set up the region first and then you put it on the cactus, it makes you move like this. This is a round collider, so I move like this. That way you don't have to get stuck every time you walk against something. If you walk like this, it still continues up. And that really is just player convenience there. Sometimes it's a little bit of a drag like that, like you want to get the loot of this guy and it goes like this. But mostly I get to hear that it's done nicely and it's really player convenience here. So yeah, let's go in a fight. I picked all map encounters because that's just the general feel players have right now. I also changed the backgrounds and I changed the I think I got like 20 or 25, maybe 30 plugins evolving around the battle system that make it work like this. I want to create something that not everyone is used to, but it's still comprehensible. Like you have a few rows. Right now it's just attacking. Okay, it's just pretty normal. I don't see the rows that good yet. I see that icon above the enemy's head, but I don't know what it is yet. That's all fine for most players, almost all right now. And then tutorialize them if they just continue south. I haven't explained the compass on the upper left yet, because I just want the player to experience being able to walk freely and not too freely by putting up those. That's another plugin, by the way, that does this, of course. That shows this is the room you can move in, and they will eventually always find where to go, or they notice the compass on the upper left. So this is pretty standard. I raised the critical hit ratio on the enemy on purpose, so you kill him faster. It's all about player convenience there. So yeah, let's skip through this. So yeah, here I put the tutorial in. The tutorial, I was thinking, how could I put the tutorial in? I can of course do just a text walls and that kind of stuff, but that will always bug some players out. Some players just want to go into the game. But I needed to have some sort of tutorial in here to at least give an idea of the basics of this battle system, because it is more complex than just your turn using magic, attack or an item, and that's kind of it. So I thought of a way to do it, and that was through story. Now it's a little bit breaking here and there with the story flow, but it's so small that I haven't heard anyone really complain about it. So that's a plus for me, I think, because I always have a problem myself when I read fourth wall breaking stuff. So I try not to do it, but let me show you what I mean. So just the story always plays out, so you can go to the story or the extra detailed version. So this is just the story version. Like he's telling her, this is because I picked the detailed. So you get a text wall, some icons is always nice to have in there, and some phrasing here and there, or spaces here and there between sentences is always nice. Like there are 4 rows that form the formation for the characters, and then just an open line there, and then continue with the rest. Just because it feels more clean for reading and viewing it. And always try to have what you want to show in the middle of your tutorial here, because that's the most important part. That blinks out. Those row icons blink out with that part, and that's the most important part there. So they just go on talking, and they also hint about what they could do. Of course, he doesn't want her to use that yet, because I want the story to progress there. That using spells isn't really good for the caster, because it hurts the caster, because they need to sacrifice blood, but all that will be explained later. So the player will only get why Mila wasn't able or wasn't allowed to use any magic yet. Here you go. Damn it, she has a point. I should use my battle skills to move this enemy out of the defender's row to speed things up. Like, I highlighted battle skills. Skills, for me, is still a word that could be used in a normal conversation. Like, everyone has skills, so saying I can use my battle skills isn't that groundbreaking yet. Or it's on the line. So, to move on, to move this enemy out of the defensive row. Row is of course something I shouldn't use. I should really say defensive stance than row here. Maybe I'll change that. It's always good to get feedback on yourself, I guess. Maybe I should say defensive stance. But for the player, it needs to be clear that this is R2 stands for row. So I don't know yet. I haven't heard anyone else about it. It bugs me that I need to that I'm using row here, but the R2 I could use S2 and S1 and S3, but clearly it are rows. So to keep it clear, I think I'm gonna stick with it. I'm not sure about this one. I haven't been sure because I don't like fourth wall breaking. But then I just use the icon to show the player, like, I mean this with it. So you can check on the enemy there that, oh, that icon there is on the enemy, and visual cues. Okay, got it. With a shield icon in the back and an R2 above, in front of it. Better skills have been added to your command list. Yeah, this is just, I'm not gonna explain why I picked these choices, but these are just some ideas how I want to make the battle system unique. And I've got to be honest, at first it didn't work at all. There were so many problems and so many buggy things, and I've worked them out in a couple of I think most of them in the last year, and it really turned out to be a better and better battle system. So he's defending himself. I get him out of that row. And he loses his defensive stance and the defend itself. So now I can hit him pretty hard. More than half each HP gone with one hit. And there you go. Down he goes. Let's skip this forward. So you got Khan as a character. I already talked a bit about him. You got Mila. She's a bit of a mystery girl. At first you think like, oh, she's just a person next to Khan that's there to fill up something, but she's one of the most important characters of the whole game, next to Ragnar and Khan. Then you got Jamal. He's more of a family man. Yes, he has some great ideas, and Khan listens to him, but he's not on the same level as the other three in character development, but he's just wise and he knows stuff. But he always is critical, and that bugs out Khan. So they get a little bit dynamic there. You always want some dynamic between your characters, also on the positive side, but also on the negative side. So he needs Jamal to keep him calm and listen to his advice, but he also thinks that Jamal can be overprotective or not overprotective. That would be weird. Could be overthinking things. So that's the way I set up that dynamic, and you want dynamic between all your characters if they know each other well. Because they already know each other, they're already, so you can already play further than the starting. And I always say show, don't tell. Don't tell the player, because I played a game last time that the narrator was explaining the characterizations of the characters. I was always saying in that video, like, why don't you just show it? So I picked in the tutorial to have one system explained at a time, and then have it be used in the, or have the option to use it in the fight. It makes the fight easier. So I still want to give the player the freedom to select it or not, but I've prompted it to them, and it's their choice to make their fight easier, or they can just stick to hitting attack, attack, attack. But they will notice the further they get that they should have paid attention, and still will be using skills like this. They will struggle more, but I made it a bit simpler in the last update. I've removed quite a few of percentages on each row, the advantages of each row, so it's a bit more balanced, but it also picks a bit more away from the hardness of this game. So I put him in front so he doesn't get his defense buff, and then I hit him. There you go. Use an item on Khan here because he needs some help. Of course, I know the system, so I'm not gonna act like this is an easy system or something to comprehend. But yeah. Ah, I missed. Here I wanted to show the player a bit of the other types of people. Of course, the Doctor tribe is just a Doctor tribe, and here you got the Nomads. And the Nomads are thinking and acting a bit differently. And I wanted to already show the player that not everyone is on the same level as them, and they can think differently, although they're on the same battlefield. Like they just have a common enemy here, and it's not like they're from the same tribe just because they're from the desert. They have their own issues too. So here I begin with the setup of the sad part of war. Like even Khan is beginning to get pissed because he's not beginning to be sad but just pissed. He begins to get an overflow of emotions, goes in, and then it shows the personalities of Mila and Jamal, that they're more calm and overthinking or thinking over stuff. Uh, and that he still listens, although it's a little bit listening. He still listens. Oh, there I skipped the text with the autosave. So I used a save autosave function, and that's not a. I used the plugin beforehand, but now I'm just using code that you can find in RPG Maker MV itself. It's not too hard to find. I don't know the code out of my head, but it's on the forums or on Google if you Google it. And you can just use a plugin command and it saves. And in that plugin command, you can set the save file that you want to the autosave to happen on. So I just put it on 16 and it saves on save slot 16. I saw some plugins for this and I used one of them because I thought, okay, so probably this is not in MV itself, but this is just in MV itself. This is what anyone can do as long as they pick that line of code up and put it in a plugin command that's in the editor. Uh, so yeah, you just do an event and then put in the plugin command and number 16 as save slot 16 and it's there. And I want to play it at save slot 16 is for the autosave. Because I don't know how to change this to look like save slot 16 is file 16 is autosave. Rather than it says file 16. Would have wanted it, but yeah, nobody's bugged out about it, so I'm fine with it. The dynamic between the army is of course that they are more sophisticated, more advanced, and they are just overwhelming the Doctor and the other tribes with their sheer armors and power in the end. Although Khan is strong, he can beat everything, and I just wanted to show it like he's strong, he's massive, and he's powerful, and he beats a lot of up, but they're just with too many for him to keep beating up. You will notice that the farther you get into this game, the harder the fights, because I amplify the enemies a little bit and a little bit and a little bit the further you get to the ending, because at the ending it's gonna be really hard to win, because you don't have to win in the prologue. So that's what I wanted to set up for, like they're strong, it's not that they're weak, it's just that these guys are more fatigue, or how you say that, more worn out, so they're a little bit weaker than the further you get. More fresh troops, the stronger they get. So yeah, there's more explanation how it works. I got it really set up in a different way than everyone else does, but I think it's still cool. Let's defend with him for now. Ah, damn it, he gets out of the road, so he loses his defense. Let's get her to the front, beat her up. So I especially picked on using skills that doesn't use up your turn to really change the dynamic of how you want to battle and the tactics that you could use. Enemies also have these. This is a shame. Also, enemies also have this possibility. So it's not like. Yeah, it's not like you always. It's not like you can always do different things to win. It's not like a puzzle fight, because I see that lately so much in even in AAA games. I was watching Neo yesterday, and he was playing Final Fantasy, the demo of Final Fantasy VII, and it was more like a puzzle. Once you get the mechanic of the enemy, then you can wipe him out. But I wanted it to be more like every fight is different. They also can start in different rows and have different skills then. Even the enemy, I mean, especially the enemy, this setup when I started this battle isn't the same every time. Every time you play it again, they could be in different rows. Sometimes I do have them set in one row, but mostly they can change rows. So every fight is different. And I like to do that, like not have one mechanic just to do a battle. So you gotta switch things up. And I think I did a pretty good job about it, and that's why people like the battle system. It's rewarding for finding out how you want to do the battle, and every time is different. Enemies in front rows will probably do lots of damage at you, and sometimes you got a lot of utility enemies, and they heal each other, and you really want to focus on one. Rather than, or you want to move them out of that road to have an easier fight. Like there's so much difference and possibilities here for me to play with, and I don't want to show too many of the possibilities early on. So like right now, so I've got the enemy tuned down a bit, But once you get further into the game, you really I have an arena set up in the Doctor tribe where you can fight, and there I really want to show the brilliance of the system I got to develop, and I'm really proud of. That really shows how hard it can be when they're really smart, the AI, because I really have worked on the AI to be smart and use not only use the normal formatting but also a lot of plugins, but one specific plugin that lets me really fiddle with the AI, like if one of your allies, enemy allies, uh, has that percentage of HP, then the character and that condition, then the character does that, then the character does that, or in that row, or when something used a different skill, then etc etc. It's pretty cool to fiddle around with it and make a battle much more alive, and that's what I think players like about the battle system right now. They already can feel they're really fighting some smart peeps rather than just an enemy like a slime and it does two attacks and it dies. You're fighting humans here, like I want. Of course, it's computer and it's AI, but you're fighting human AIs here, not beasts. With beasts, I have it more set up like they're not that smart. They still do stuff, but more aligned to them being animals rather than humans. Humans are much harder to battle, as they are smarter to try to disrupt your positions and stuff. And animals do that too with some skills, but to a lesser degree. Their AI is just stupid, more animal-like. All this bloodshed was so really, yeah. So I said, or so I was talking about the bridge scene, and now this scene. So I was setting it up to become sad and sobby, and this is the part where it's sad and sobby. I really want to show the ugliness of war here and bring some other emotions out of the characters and show them and get the player attached to them a bit more. So yeah, this part here, I set up story lores, and from this part on, you really get more freedom in moving around. And you get more freedom the further you go from the start of the game to the end of the game. And once you play Ragnar, you also have a starting position, and it grows, it grows, it grows. And I really got that idea from Final Fantasy games. Like it's a tunnel that gets wider, 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 and then you just suddenly feel like you're in a big, massive open area, but you've always started from that tunnel point of view, and I like that concept, and I've tried to use it in my game too, on both the Ragnar setup and on Khan's setup. Um, so if you play Khan and start as Ragnar, you start in that tunnel again because it's a different character, and that gives you way more options to tunnel the player into characterizations, into what you want to attach as story to the player, or tell a story to the player. Because once they're in that open area, they need to have a clear vision of the world. Because once you let them loose on the world, they need to understand your world. So this is all kind of world building and character building, till the point that you get a much wider open area. So I put these little story lore things in, just to add more flavor. If a player is more into story, they can pick these things up, and they can, like here, they tell about how it works and more characterizations like Jamal doesn't like, but he also gives info that the rituals they do aren't that nice to the caster, because she needs, or he needs, the caster needs to sacrifice blood to be able to cast a ritual, at least offensive rituals. That's why they got banned, but you read about that later. Like bad rituals got banned, and the good rituals are still there. Uh, So every bad shaman, dark shamans are not allowed to live in this world and are banished, and the light shamans are the ones that are in this game. So I'm giving a little bit of hint to Mila here, because Mila has some dark magic and some ancient blood rituals. So I want to give a little bit of hints, like if you play the whole game, you can grasp it a little bit better, the little hints and stuff. But mainly, this is enough for the player already to know. So there's more. There's also some hints for the end game here and there, but the biggest part is just explained commonly, face open to here to the player. Um, so yeah, let's continue. Here you begin to see the difference between the two tribes. They don't know Khan all that well, and they're the Doctor tribe. They know, of course, their chieftain. But just to show differences again. Here I started with the first side event. It also shows just when you walk in here, so you can miss the almost can't miss. You can miss, but nobody missed it yet. You can't miss the pop-up here. Still, the pop-up is bound to where you're looking at, so that's pretty cool. Nice plugin. All credits is in the credits, by the way, for all those people that made that stuff. I just use it and utilize it in a way. Because that side event popping up, if you see this one, this is kind of the same. This is popping up, but it's just not an event that I can talk to, but it's using the same plugin as that side event plugin, but just using a different way. So you can, if you got a plugin, try to think of it like, how could I use it for what I want it to be? Like, if it pops up a name, why couldn't it pop up a red X? And I just make it an event, and I put the event there, and that you can pass it. And it looks like there's red X's blocking you, but those are just events with a pop-up. Like be smart with plugins, and you can get really far with personalizing your game. It's really cool if you can find these cool things to do with the plugin. That's why I like to play some games that also use plugins in a different way. So yeah, side events. I wanted to get the player to have a little bit of side tracking here and there. This one is about finding a girl and her earring. It doesn't have to do too much about the story, but it builds a bit of character and gets the player a little bit loose of the story so far, and gets to do something different that relieves the pressure of the main story, if they want it. Otherwise, they just do this and they continue. Well, here you get more story, more hinting about Mila being different. Like I said, it's not a big mystery that she's different, but you get more hints that can be placed easier or the further you get in the game if you replay it. But it's clear to the player right now that something's up with her. Because mystery building is good. At least I think that's okay. But the mystery needs to be clear. Like, okay, that's a mystery. You want the player to understand that's a mystery right now. Like she was saying something like in the context of like, what is this I'm feeling? It feels so familiar. When Khan is like, I felt it too, and I'm pissed. So what's going on there? Like that's clear. Uh, and then you got the part that developers that do it in a way like I have no clue. Like they put some words in there that have that can't be placed yet by the player, and then say like yeah, you don't understand it yet because it hasn't happened yet. Yeah, but why would I get that information? The brain doesn't store information if they can't use it. And you can use a story that says like there's a mystery around this person. Point. They don't have to keep everything in mind that there's something there, that there's mystery, point. Keep it at that. Don't throw in all those words like there's in Alakazam there's a city there that blah 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 and a whole story, and I can't place it yet. So yeah, about that, will we get further when I can go to that side of the cave here, because I've done something like that, but it's more like you can begin the story there and end the story there. But that's for when I get there. I'll explain that more when I get there. So yeah, the vines here were not shown correctly, so I made them more the colors more brighter, and I put a lighting effect on them. Um, you probably can see the vine right now, but it couldn't be seen at first. So things like that. Thank you all for playing my game and giving me all that feedback, because I'm not seeing everything that you guys are seeing, and I'm not experiencing it the same way that other players will. But I really want to thank you all for playing my game here and give me all this wonderful feedback. Even the small things, they matter like the most. If a lot of small things block players out, they also won't like your game. It's not only always the big things. So here's another side event. He wants meat and a little bit fun story rather than that one outside. That's a more sad story, like find his sister. Sister turns out to be dead, and yeah, that's more sad. And this one is more funny. You give him meat. Of course, he's starving from not having enough food. But then when you get him some food, then he shoves it up, and then there's a little comment about him choking up and dying. So yeah. So yeah, and there's some here dialogue here and there that really sets both of the nomad tribes and the doctor tribe apart. So here you got the leader, Timo. She's a leader, so she doesn't answer to Khan, so she already has a big mouth the second you talk to her against him. Like, they're on the same level, so he doesn't have anything to say about her, and she's just pissed about the way he handled things. And the player can probably relate to this, as they already see Khan being impulsive. So here Khan learns there's nothing wrong with his daughter. I go for the normal. Oh wait, I should explain that part. So the player, he learns here that his daughter isn't on the battlefield, so he's relieved. And then Timo wants to continue about talking about how they're gonna proceed. And then you can pick two options. One that's I've set behind there, that's the normal mode, and one that's the hard mode. And what the idea behind those two things is like, players sometimes wants a challenge. So here you got a challenge. You can play a normal mode, or really hard is hard with me, so that's hard. I don't like when they got extreme and diabolic and like 10 different intensity of hard. Hard is hard, guys. Come on, you don't need 10 different intensities to make to express what you want. That's just way too much detail for games. I think that's my opinion, but yeah. So there's a normal and a hard difficulty, and apart from just having a challenge for the player, I also wanted to be woven into the story. So here, if you play normal, Timo and Jamal will join up with you, but if you pick hard, Timo and Jamal will get pissed at you, or pissed. They don't agree with you and find an excuse to get out of this predicament and don't want to follow Khan anymore on his choice here. But they still go apart in a respectful, or at least in some way, or some respectful ways. They get apart from each other. So yeah, that's why I kind of put in the normal mode and the hard mode to pick a challenge, but also weave it in with your story. So it's it really is a difference. Because if you walk around with all four of them, they will have different dialogue, different stuff going on, and it also, in the end, has a replayability. So I picked normal mode first, I finished the whole game or the demo, and then you can play the demo or the whole game again, and pick all the other choices that you didn't take, and experience a different, although it's only some parts that are really different, you can experience just a few dialogue changes or yeah, well, if you miss two characters, you have a lot of dialogue, of course, that you're gonna miss, and some jokes. But yeah, that's what I wanted to do with having these options, and I got more of these options throughout the game. So here is a scene between Khan and Mila. I wanted to let the player know that they have a different relation. That Mila is kind of not into Khan is a big word, but she adores him. She sees the good in him. She's a good person, and she sees the good in him, and that's a part that I wanted to shine through. And a positive side of Khan, that he isn't always, after he heard his daughter is okay, he can now relax a bit and show some good emotions of him, like he cares about Mila. And though he's still very aggressive and now aggressive isn't a good word, but he's very blunt, and he's very strong in his opinion, he still feels things, and he still has a part of him that's also compassionate. And then you got Jamal being conflicted that Mila puts up with Khan while he's pretty much yeah, the way he is. So that way I want to really build the characters up. So here they're trapped, because that's the setup I used, just to show another mechanic, really. So you got 8 people here, and I wanted to show the player that there can be a lot of enemies on the map. That's why I've got this battlefield is pretty stretched out, as you can see. You got 4 players, your party, on that 1/3 of the map, and then you got 2/3. That sound weird. Third is like poop too, but yeah, never mind. Just popped into my head. You got 2/3 of the map for the enemy there. So you can see one formation is the first 3 characters there, row 4, row 2, row 1, and then it starts again, row 4, row 2, row 1. So Jamal is like, oh damn, they're with many, and they got more formation areas on the field. So yeah, they got 2 formation areas, we got 1. As to explain why isn't row 4 the 4th character from the left? Why isn't he in the 4th row? Because that's another formation area. So you got 3 formation areas, 2 are the enemies and 1 is the ally. So yeah. And you got 4 characters in each formation, so to keep it clear that 4-4 you can get to a maximum of 8 enemies and 4 on your side. So magic can be used now. Of course we need to kill a big crowd. That's for Khan an option to say, like, now you will show them what you're made of. That's the fun with him. How much do I need? 4 CD. So I've about the CD, I've set it up in a way that, like, base cooldown up there you can see is 18 turns. So 18 turns of cooldown. Got 4 more to go, but you can use battle skills, you can use stuff to get that big cooldowns down. So now it's 3 CD. Let's see, these are also instant. So I punch him and the CD goes down further, but not only the weapon CD, of course, all CDs. So here's 1 CD, and I need 2 CDs for the ultimate combo, so I need to reduce 1 CD first. Let's use this one. So now I can use my battle skill again. Get him out of row 2. And now I can use my weapon skill ultimate combo. So there's a really big layer of tactics here if you play it out right. I'm just showing you, of course I understand not all players will get this when they're at this stage like me. But I just want to show right now that there's a big layer of tactical decisions to make, how you can play things out. Because you're gonna look around like what's smart to do, you got the time to figure out a nice tactic, and then you execute it. So that's why I do prompt to players that this is a tactical battle system rather than just a battle system. Ooh, he's almost down. Need to heal him. As you can see, the enemy there defended his ally. I got mechanics set up that the defenders of enemies substitute for damage that is done on other enemies. So they still are defenders, even though they are put in a different row, like row 1 right now. They still substitute for allies. That's only on the enemy side. I don't do it on the player side, because that will just yeah, that's just too overpowering, to be honest. Okay, let's use some inspiration. Oh, it's her turn. So I got it set up in a way that the bar still continues and there's a little bit delay, so to make it more dynamic, I can of course just put the turn to 0 and then you get instantly the turn again, so the bars of other players don't fill up. But I didn't want that. I wanted a little bit of room for dynamic. Like right now, it's even though I used an instant skill of Timo, Mila's turn is now up. And not any more Timos. And enemies can go in between too. So that makes it more dynamic. And pretty cool, I think. So advantage of rows is in row 4 that you get double the healing amount. So it's 2099 heal now, but in reality it was 1045. As you saw there, defend ally. Defend ally is the substitute. I just renamed that part. Nothing fancy about that. So they got defended while oh dang. They got defended. I'm not paying enough attention, but they got defended while I did that really hard strike. That's why they're still alive. Let's kill some. There you go. Bum. Ah, I thought I had them all 3. That's also something I don't really get. I get a lot of these slivers, but you don't see the sliver of HP on the chart. It's like that low that it doesn't show anymore. I find that if you guys know a solution for that, I really would like to know it. Because I don't know a solution for that. Well, why doesn't it show a sliver of HP on the HP bar? So here, and also in the other fight with when killing the captain, they also ran, and now they're running again. And I want to play to hint to the player that something is up with it. So here's the text: what's going on? They run at the first sight of defeat, and Jamal saying something about it like, yeah, there's something up with that. Because in the end, you will hear that these guys are peasants, most of them. And the captains keep them in line just to set up what is coming in the end. So yeah, you won't see that in the demo part, but there's more going on there in the drama kingdom that I've set up in this in the game. You won't really ever visit them, but they will pop up somewhere else too. But that's in a later version. In the full game, I mean. So yeah, let's go to the passage part. So I got it set up right now that you don't have to follow the compass here. You can already, like, if you go down there, you will burn a cactus and then you meet a big rock that you need a pickaxe for. But you can already go in here again to pick up the pickaxe, and that's in there because this path is just open because they're already gone. I wanted to make it so dynamic as possible, but still have a tunnel here. Like, you can't go everywhere yet instantly, but the world just got bigger again. You can go here and you can go back up here and get the treasures, because because I got the key, because I got Timo with me. I'm not gonna get those other treasures outside yet, or yet, just not, because of the sake of the play. And it still works out fine. I got the story set up in a way that it still works out fine doing it like this. It doesn't matter. It's a lot of eventing, I'll be honest, and it had a lot. It had a lot of bugs. It doesn't anymore, at least not that I know of. That you can just do whatever you like. Well, here you get a bit of the extra story lore, the backstory lore. How do you call it? The old story lore. I don't know anymore right now how you call it. But the story lore that happened in the past, to understand, because that's what eventually the main story will be about. It's not about this fight. This fight happened because of something else, and this is all pre-setting up to getting to that point. And to not make this as small, I've got a whole system built around this one, this backstory building. I've got like 4 big dungeons. This is one of those dungeons that you walk through and can pick up these letters, learn more about, fight an end boss, and it has all to do with the past and the future, of course. But I'm not gonna spoil what that's all about. But it's all connected eventually. Not these big dungeons aren't just dungeons you can do. They're kind of adding flavor to the main story. I personally don't like just dungeons being in the world because in the world there are dungeons. No, they for me they need to be connected to the main story, and I thought of a way to kind of make it the main story, but it's optional main story. And that's kind of funny, and I like that idea that I got about how to set this up. So you got 3 or 4 dungeons that you can explore. I think it was 4 with story lore in it, and then it had much flavor. But you can just skip it for the players that don't like, that don't like. Doing doing the story and just want more to continue the main story and push through that. And also again, replayability. I like to replay a game but have a different experience by then. Like if you just push through the story, you get enough information to get the story and probably understand it and hopefully like it. But when you replay it, you can go to these side areas, and you probably were gonna do this then, if you skip this whole dungeon here. And that's what I wanted to make. Cool choices that really add to the replayability. Also, branches you can go into that also connect to the main story that are also optional. I want to have a lot of optional stuff, but it all needs to be intertwined with something. And I got mini games. Those are not related to the main story that much because they're mini games, but they are set up in a way that they're still believable for being in the story. So yeah, not really into fighting too much here. So there's the pickaxe, and there are spiders. So we could destroy a rock with. So let's take it with us. He's not. I didn't need it yet, but I can pick it up already, and I can do this whole dungeon before I continue the story, or I could just continue the story, and then I need a pickaxe for destroying that rock, and then I get back here. But I don't need to do this whole dungeon. This is about it, what you need to do for the dungeon. And I'm not gonna show it to you guys here, because I'm not gonna show this whole stuff. I'm just here to explain why I did some part of the game. So let's continue. So this scene also happens already. It can be done beforehand or afterhand, doesn't really matter. So I really wanted to play it to experience that you can pick your own way of doing the game, but it eventually always leads to the same, or not really the same, because in some points you get choices, and if you pick another route, you get to the same ending, but the ending plays out differently. Yeah. That's what I want the player. Because that's all adds to replayability and diversity and stuff. I've seen a few players doing it differently. Oh yeah, I just moved the player to this area here because backtracking or is a little bit of a stupid thing that most players won't like. So I already also set up some points in the game that's gonna happen after I break this rock, that my pickaxe breaks up. And I just want to have the player give the player windows of opportunities to do some stuff. I don't want to give them the whole game just to come back to something. I want to let them feel like, hey, you can do this now, or you can do this when you replay the game. Like if you break this rock, your pickaxe gonna break, and if you didn't open up the path to the boss in the cave, then you won't get there anymore. It's impossible. So this is one of the first things. If you open up the path, you can still kill the boss. That's fine. But there's another part in this prologue that if you change your armor, that's gonna happen later. Then you can't enter the cave anymore. So I want to close off. I want to close windows. You got windows, you can take them. You can't, or not, but they close off. It's not like you can always come back to them. Because that's not in the story's interest. Some things happen and they change after a while. So it's weird. I sometimes have games that put you in a situation, and yeah, that put you in a situation that you can do something, but you can also do it like so much more later. And for me, it's like, no, that's something that needs to be happened in that moment, or it shouldn't happen anymore. It's not logical to be able to do that what the side quest is, like 5 years later, or after I continued so much of something else. I still need to catch a rabbit or something. You get hopefully what I mean. Like, it needs to be logic-wise for me. At least for me, for me it really adds to the liveliness of the world. Like, things don't exist forever. They stop existing or change if you don't take the opportunity. Some things will stay, but some things won't stay. So here, this fight is already a next step from the last captain. This captain is much smarter in AI and also in the setup of the battle. Here he starts in row 1, but he can also start in row 2. So yeah. Oh wait. Oh wait. Yeah. That was a funny. He goes to row 2 because I need him in row 2 for first before, because he needs to defend. But he can. Stupid point there. But they can start in a different row. That's kind of the point I wanted to make. Even for bosses, I have some bosses that do start in different rows and don't move to a certain row. But this boss, funny. I just wanted to make the comment, and this boss pumps himself to a different row. This boss, this captain needs to be in that row because I don't want him to be killed that fast. So I put him in row 2. Because in row 1 and row 3 and 4 they get more damage than in the defensive row. Let's see, I want to change my equipment, get a better weapon, and get Khan back up there and defend myself. Already getting pushed out. Let's do some damage. Let's get him up here. Let's punch him. Oh, wait, do I have a TP skill? Let's try to kill him in one go. Do I have more? Nah, let's run out. Let's try it. Kill. There you go. Down. Down he goes. So this is the prologue. So some people, some players already mentioned to me like, oh, this is too easy, or this is, yeah, not that they complain really that it's too easy, because it's not, but they sometimes say like, oh, Khan feels too overpowered, but that's his character. It's not the main character for the rest of the game, but he's one of the strongest types. So yeah, he is one of the strongest. He does ridiculous amounts of damage and stuff, but he isn't the main character. Like Ragnar is like 1/4 weaker than Khan, is still really strong, and he is the champion after all. So I want to also empathize the parts that they play in the world. Like, he is strong. Like, everyone notices he is strong. Like, I hear some players saying, "Oh, the rest is useless." No, they're not. They're just different in usage. So Jamal is really good in tactical stuff, like changing the rows and defending himself and taunting the enemy in attacking him and defending himself while doing that. Khan is more the buff type. He attacks, punches this, but he also dies fast, Khan, if he gets hit. Mila is gonna die fast, but when she casts offensive magic, it's gonna wipe almost the enemy out in one single turn. Timo is more of the supportive characters. He supports the whole because she also helped people to get out of the fightings and return to that mountain where we found all the survivors. She's more of the supportive type. She helps to get things done. Um, and she has more supportive skill, but that's also with the rows. I wanted to complement each row with the person the character is. So Khan gets a buff from the row, and he's a strong character that double buffs him. Mila is a caster and she's the magician row that double buffs her to be in that row. So if they get moved out of the row, like Jamal is right now, he's gonna become useless. Some skills won't be able to be used anymore. He isn't able to be as functional as his character and person is anymore. So it's pretty good to get that character back in the position that he was. So let's put some agility on him. Let's see, Jamal needs a cure. So a pre of the defensive row is of course that you double heal, and those things reduce cooldown. So as you can see, one cooldown left on that skill that has a base of 5 cooldown turns. So also in the defensive row, that's the only, or in the supportive row, that's the only row that can use battle items, and battle items are pretty strong. I don't see many people using them yet, as I saw. I mostly see people not using them because they think battle items are like mwah mwah mwah. But I try to make my battle items more interesting than the normal way of doing it. Mm. Oh wait, it's Jamal. Let's see. He needs one turn. Like right now, I need one cooldown I got. So weapon skills use up my turn. Attack uses up my turn. But items don't. So let's see if I can use an item. Yeah, let's get Mila's MP back up. And then I can use my battle skills to get me back in my row. Like, this is one of those tactical things again. And now I can use my skills again. Oh, he doesn't have Taunt anymore. I removed his TP skill Taunt because it was a little bit OP in the prologue, and a little bit too much stuff going on too. But yeah, at least he's back in the row he's good in defending and tanking stuff for the team. And in the defensive row, one of the perks of the defense row, like you got the perks of the support rows that you have double HP items. The perk of being the defense row is that you get targeted more. So having a character in the defensive row attracts more of the chance of enemies hitting other party members. Detracts more of the chance of enemies hitting your party members. He's gonna put me to sleep. So some of these animations I need to work on, but I'm being distracted a lot about making my own game finished. So I'm gonna leave those things till I got the time, finish the game and got the time to really work on that. Let's see. Let's get one of them out of the defensive row. There you go. Oh, one of my characters bled to death. Like here, the enemy moves himself to the back row, and now he's able to use different skills. He's gonna be able to use Mend Wounds, one of his TP skills, and he's gonna be using more item related, like a heal. Uh, uh, the the how do you call it? The clerk will use more. The enemy clerk will use more like magic water and heal and mend wounds, but the enemy soldier will also use mend wounds uh, and potions. Now that he's in that row, so it changes up his whole setup. But he's still one of the defenders, and he will still defend an ally when they're low on HP, and I'm gonna kill him. There you go, I can kill him. There you go. There you go. Let's heal up. Let's use our skills to heal up. I also made the choice not to let bleed and all those status ailments get in the way of those status ailments persist outside of battle. I always find it so annoying that you need to open up your menu and use a potion, or medicinal potion or herb or something to get the status off, and then you can continue every time you fall again for the fight. So what I did was really make so that the player still uses those kind of items. It doesn't use up your turn in your combat, so that's already nice. And the amount of damage, bleed, stun, heal, bleed, stun, poison, burn, and etc. All does is stun doesn't do any damage, but the ones that do damage do much more damage than they you would say regularly happen in an RPG. So using those items is still gonna be a pre. Here in this scene, I just wanted to show at first how big their army is, and that their general is a bit different than a normal army commander, and that something weird is going on in their army, that not all soldiers are loyal enough. And I wanted to show some scene again with the characters here standing here and just talking just now. With more characterization about Timo being more suspective of foul play and suspective of things because they already got double crossed somewhere. So, but you will learn that all later. That isn't important for now. That what that really was. It's more like just building a character that she's that sort of character that says that sort of stuff. Really, why she's like that and stuff, like her, what happened to her, will all be explained way later. It isn't important right now. I really want to just shine through right now what for characters they are, and not really why they are those kind of characters. Like Khan is already mostly made here because he's the main character. Like his daughter is the only one. He needs one to protect her, and he's a hothead, and those things are gonna shine through. Why he's a hothead? Yeah, because things, of course, that already happened to him. He's unstable, but that will be also explained a little bit more later, because that isn't that important yet. Why he's so into his emotions, and why he's becoming more and more unstable. Yeah, I skipped this so the camera isn't panning right. Should be panning down, but that's not a bug, that's just me skipping text. So here you got a choice again. I can go here and go for the difficulty hard, or I can just try to infiltrate them by going and taking the clothes of the people down south. In the end, you still need to get the clothes down south to enter the main camp, but if you want, you can destroy this whole camp. And that's things I like to put in the game. Like, if you want, go for it. Try this hard mode here and destroy this enemy here. And there are a lot of them, and it's a long, drawn-out battle. But yeah, it's a whole camp of enemies, and you're gonna face them with or 2 characters, or with the setup of how I have it right now, 4 characters, and it's still gonna be pretty hard. So that's pretty cool to yeah, try and make the game interesting and dynamic again. So I'm not gonna go in there and fight, because that is like I said, really long and hard battle. So I'm just gonna go here and get the stuff. Here I wanted to show a bit of the hardness of the desert too. Like there are monsters in the desert that are strong, that can kill those soldiers too. So it's not only the tribes the enemy has to fear, it's also the desert itself. Damage. I think I'm gonna finish the prologue here. 2 CD. Like here again, I got 2 CD on 2 cooldown turns on this massive thing, and I want it. So I'm gonna use TP skill, because that doesn't cost anything. I'm just gonna use another TP skill, and then my cooldown is down, so I can use that massive skill. As you can see, although it's her turn again, 2 enemies go between it, and that's what I like about the dynamic. It doesn't feel like okay, I can just spam and spam and spam. I gotta be smart, because the enemy could hit me between turns. There you go, and now I can use it. I like those dynamic things. I really like dynamic games, because you're already getting tunneled pretty much. I want to have those choices, so it feels like it isn't that you're not in a tunnel. It's already going sideways, and you can do branches and stuff. But really, you're just tunneled. I got four maps right now, where you started the battle. Then you go over the bridge, that map. Then that map where the main camp is, and now this map where the secondary camp is. But it are only 4 maps, yeah, and of course the dungeon, the cave thingy. So let's say there's only 5 maps here right now. But it's so dynamic that it feels already pretty big. At least that is what I hope that the player would experience. Here's a little joke about them changing up. But also a serious note that Jamal really doesn't like what's happening with shamans and how the rituals go. So here I changed the party members up. I put out the clothes of the enemy commanders. I also changed pictures and in-battle sprites. Because yeah, that's how you should do it. Don't be lazy. Just do it if you're gonna go for that. Let's heal up and do the last fight with the general. So what I find funny is like I can talk to these guys right now because you infiltrated. It's all just small things, but yeah, because you infiltrated, because you got armor now, you look like them, and they're now friendly, and otherwise they would attack you and you would have to fight. So now I can enter this camp here. Rather than beating all these enemies in really one enemy is really one enemy on the character in the battle scene. This is not a joke for me with Esmeralda. That's the general's name, and I put it downstairs because it doesn't matter. It's just to have this scene collapse. Just a bit of trying to be funny. But a serious note again that they're not all real soldiers. There are also people from the farms drafted. So here's a little scene about the clerics not being totally nice guys. Something's up with the clerics. It's already to be seen by their red eyes, of course. That's to indicate that they're evil. But later in the game, in the full version, you will also meet someone that is in the tribes that has red eyes, and it will all make much more sense in what's going on here, and why they are attacking, and what's happening. Although these guys are in a way more sane, and how that happened will all be explained. But I just wanted to hint for like there's something wrong with these guys. Clearly wrong, and they got red eyes. Everyone has normal things, but they got red eyes. What's going on there? Let's get that weapon too. There you go. Let's equip it. There you go. So as you can see, this because of the pixel movement and the following plugin, I had an update on the pixel movement on the followers, because they were moving really ugly, and now they're moving really cool. Like you can see them not always being how do you say that? In our straight line. They can be blocked, and they can be see this? This is cool. I like the way of doing this. It's those little things that really make you stand out, I think. So just want to point the small things out that are cool. At least that I think that are cool. And those are all in plugins, and bit of adapting some small things, but yeah. This is a game that you can. I'll just answer it just for the fun of it wrong. But if you do it right, you get a little extra, and you can pick chest. And if you do it wrong, like I say, the glowing fire, they like, what? Sorry, I couldn't resist. Intruders, get them. And like, you still get taken to the. Oh, this needs to change. So I need to make this in the middle of the screen. But yeah, you still they still put you up in front of the commander, because that's what they wanted. And then the scene happens, of course. And this is a bit of a problem for me, because of course if you take them into custody, their weapons should be stripped and stuff. But yeah, I think it's plausible, because the only plausible thing I could come up with why this could be okay is because the guards already got bribed to let them through. So with the idea of like they need to get to the enemy commander, this commander here on screen, they keep their armor and their weapons. Maybe I should comment on that, that would make sense more. Yeah, I should do that. I got some work to do after this. At least 2 things right now. Let's go. Let's fight some. Let's heavy strike that cleric out of his row, so he can use magic. I killed him. 3 turns. Two turns. 2 turns. Let's use some crystals. Again, this pretty much looks easy for me, but I can understand it's hard for other players because they don't fully grasp the battle system yet. And that's no problem. I don't mean for the player to win this really. If you lose, you just go to the next screen. Either way, to the next scene. Oh damn! I should have used her inspiration skill. Whew! See, here you go. The enemy AI isn't stupid. That's a captain, and he knows what he's doing. The grunts are a little bit more stupid, but so it's not countering as you normally would see a counter. It's just he's getting enraged, and enraged gives you a percentage chance of countering, and that's what I like about being changing stuff. Like you got the counter control plugin, and that's cool and stuff. But you don't just want to counter control. I mean, you don't just want the counter plugin. You want to make it different to be your own. And here I changed it to be called enraged and have a percentage chance of fighting back. It's not a you always counter when it pops up. It's like you still have a chance. He's pissed off, but not a counter. And why show it? Just to be to have fun with it. Like, oh, he's gonna use it? Ah, nah, shame. A little bit of a like one why you have it there, but sometimes you gotta just pop up stuff to pop up stuff. I think. I see many games overuse it too. Like yesterday again with Final Fantasy with Neo playing, there were like numbers all over the screen when you hit something, and like miss, dodge, miss, dodge. Numbers 1 5 1 5 5 2 5 5 5 5 3 5 with damage counters everywhere popping up in your screen. That's a little bit overuse. But I like to have some visual things happening. But I like to have it slow paced too. So that's preference, but yeah. But there's still a high chance that enrage does counter. It's like 80 or 90%. But it has a chance of not doing it too. There you go. Got the captain. So here the enemy commander escapes. Even if you win or lose, like I won right now, it doesn't matter really. It's just for this right now. Of course, I already mentioned that there are some parts in the prologue that do have effect on the end game, but yeah, I can say this is one of the things that have a little bit of impact. There are one or two more things that have a bit of impact on the ending game. So yeah, here I want to emphasize that they're in a dire position. Enemy reinforcements came in, they're getting surrounded, and they think they can escape. But no, there's a whole bunch more of enemies. They're just screwed. So they're really in a bad spot. She already used her magic, so she can't use it again right away. So she's going over into overdrive and sacrifice herself here for the greater good. They have some characterizations here, like showing she really likes Khan, and a little bit more than just liking. Not really much more, but a bit more. And he's like putting her under his protection too. Like he's protective of his daughter, but he has begun to grow on Mila too, so he doesn't want her to do it. Even though he kind of gets that they're in a very dire position, because he already said like, I will fight till we die and you come with me. So this is a really tough scene to be a guy like Khan. As a rational guy, Jamal, a tactician, he's more like, I get why this happened and we need to move. So yeah, here I prompt to the player that the play of Ragnar is 6 years before the major battle, so it's not after, it's before, so you play the past rather than the future. I like the concept of being able to explain why everything happens, and in the end, of course, you get to a point that you would say like, oh shit, that's what's going on. Like you get a big understanding what's going on right now, like because it's clearly in your face. But the real reason why everything is happening, the bigger reason, that's what you do right now. And here you got another options like easy, keep everything and be like OP in the game. Normal, that's pretty okay, and the hard you're gonna start with almost nothing and really have a harder time to play to the first set of the game, because hard only affects a part of the game, and if that part is over, uh, then another part will represent itself in the for another selection of easy, normal, hard will select itself, present itself again for the player to select. So hard will be hard for the beginning, but once you get everything rolling, this part is over for difficulty setting. But in the way, on the way, you will encounter another choices like this. So you can make the game really hard, like diabolic, if you pick everything as hard. But you can sometimes like, I'll pick this as easy, and I pick that as hard, and I pick this as normal. A little bit like dynamic than just picking one standard way of doing it. So I'm gonna stop after this scene. Here you see Ragnar for the first time, at least if you don't play him from the get-go. And show him a little bit of character, like he's a guy, he does, of course, he's got a beard and stuff. He's a little bit of a lazy guy, he's not really entertained with how Khan does things. And he gets put up with a job to do, and he's kind of like, shit, I this is the bridge is destroyed, and now I gotta talk to him again. And that's kind of where his story starts off. In first glance, I want him to be like, man, I gotta do this, and like more of a laid back figure, not lazy per se, but more of a laid back figure, and struggling to comply with the normal flow of everything, or at least normal for this setting. Like this, the Doctor Tribe accepts Khan, but he's like, do I have to? So yeah, this is where you start. I'll save it here. or at least the game already saved, of course. So I hope I gave you a little bit of insight into my way of thinking about how this game, what a good game setup could be, because I really like the way I set up this game. Um, if you like it, let me know in the comments. If you got any questions or comments, let me know in the comments, and I'll try to answer them. Um, and if it's to your liking, if it's to the people's liking, I think I will just probably do the second part too, because it's just two parts. Like this is part one, and the other part will come out in a few days or so, maybe earlier, maybe longer. I don't know. Uh, but yeah, I hope I give developers some insights with this, because that's why I do these things, to give insights to others. That's why I do the LPs. That's why I do the first impressions, just to give feedback to the dev, but also to talk to players about thought processes and what your game does with me as a player, to my feelings and stuff. It's more about trying to tell you the devs about what happens to me in the LPs and first impressions than it is that I really want to be a uh, uh, then be nice just for the act to be nice. Really I'm not gonna say I'm not a nice person, of course, but I'm not a standard over excited and stuff like that. So don't expect me to do that. I'm the guy that you're facing here right now. I'll always be critical on myself too, and I can take hard criticism. And if I play your game, you're gonna get hard criticism, but it's really from the bottom of my heart. It's from a good place, and it's only to help you, for me to be fair to you, and try to explain as good as possible why I felt that feeling. Same with this, with my own game here. I try to explain why I did some things and why I picked some choices. It's not that this is the way to make your game, but this is a way to make a game, and it's beginning to be to the liking of more and more people. And yeah, that's what we devs do it for. And I can say I struggled a lot with uh, with getting it to this point, because I had writer blocks. I had problems with fixing some certain parts of plugins, of trying to figure out a way around it, or how to set up certain parts. It's all there. Had much hard criticism, and it only helped the game to get to the point where it is now. So again, to all the people playing my game and giving me feedback, I hope I do the same for your games and other people's games. And I hope with this video I can add in another way to help the community, or at least the people watching this, to understand and develop the games even better. So thank you for watching, and see you guys around.